everyone. So I didn't get out hunting this past weekend, but I did let that camera I had out there sit for, it was about 8 or 9 days. Went out, pulled the card from it, brought my laptop along so I could check right there at the stand and decide whether, I wanted to stay there. After an 8-day sit with that camera, I only had 5 videos on it. A couple of them were corrupt. I had a bad SanDisk card in there. But of the ones that I had in there, really wasn't showing anything big and not a lot of movement, not a lot of videos for, the almost 9 days that the camera was sitting out there. So I made the decision then just to pack everything up and go back over to my old spot, set the camera up there, and put in my stand and get everything set up on a tree I have picked out in that spot. And the camera was out there for 3 days, and I got a lot of video, a lot of activity on there, and I'll get to that in a minute. But right now, I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like from this new stand location, which is actually an old spot that I've hunted out for a number of years. So let's jump into that here. Alright, so I moved everything to my new spot. Right down there, that's where the scrape is. It's at about 30 yards, the actual scrape. There's a little ribbon on the tree there, and that's 20-yard marker. Right there's a little shooting lane. As we pan around, nice opening area here. Got a 20-25 yard shot, 10 yards right below, coming right next to me. Anything comes from behind. Got another shooting lane in there. Goes out to 40 yards if you can pick up the ribbon on that tree way far out there. There's 40 yards. I just wanted to mark what the furthest point was. As you come back, you can see the other pink ribbon, which is the 20-yard ribbon right there. Over a little more. Got another shooting lane going back into there. I'm going to have to snip some of the branches off of that, clear that up a little bit. Big down holly tree right here. That's going to be a big block. Something might just pop out behind that on me. I'm going to have to watch that, listen carefully. Off to my left side, got another shooting lane on this side. It's 20 yards there. 10 yards right in there if they come close by. Have some good cover on this back side. See all the trees up close, so that'll break up any movement if something's coming up from behind me. Out in front, kind of where that 40-yard marker is, there's a rub line, probably from that big deer that was on the camera, and he works his way down along towards that scrape. I really didn't go too far back. I got some good cover behind me here to break out my outline. I can kind of see through it if something's moving through there, but I assume he's going to come up that direction, one of those two directions, and follow that rub line. So something I really didn't mention in that little video I made in my stand and didn't really show on the video, I kind of pointed out how there's a lot of cover on the sides of me, left and right. And what the video doesn't show is I'm only about 15 feet up in the air. It kind of looks, you can kind of tell I'm not that high up. And that's because my head is right in the canopy of like a Palatka sweet bay. So it's really giving me some good cover. And when I'm standing up there, I'm looking actually, I'm nicely shaded too, but I'm looking down at those 40-yard areas. So it's going to really break up my pattern nicely. Even though, it's 15 feet up, if they come at 10 yards, it's going to be hard for them not to at least discern something's in that tree. That's just going to be something I have to look out for. On some of those shots, I left a lot of trees and shrubs at those close ranges. So as they're walking behind those shrubs, then I can take that opportunity to draw back on them if they are so close. As you can see here, there's a lot of trees. The tip I had in there about marking your ranges, as I went through that video, I pointed out the orange ribbons. I got a 20-yard mark that arcs around the front of me. I also marked the 10-yard ones, but that's with a green ribbon. It didn't show up too well in the video. Now let me show you in the three and a half days that I did have a camera out in that spot. Had a lot of activity. I'll show you what I got out of that. So for the three and a half days that I had this camera up before I pulled the card out, I did have a lot of activity on it. I had a total of 18 videos from it. Some of them are what I call duplicates. A deer will trigger the video, and 2 minutes later it's still in the area and triggers it again. But still definitely had a lot of deer and different deer moving through the area. Got a button buck here that came around, as well as a spike I'll show later on, and some does and a doe family group. Most of the time when they're traveling it is morning and evenings, right around the 7 o'clock time. And there was a couple right around midnight when the moon was directly overhead. So as far as, watching the moon and seeing how they are active with that, it seems to coincide at least for their movement in this area. So this camera is to the right of how my stand is facing. And most of the activity that came through this is going to the left side of the camera, which is going to take them crossing directly in front of me. So that should work out nice, even if they're not visiting the scrape. Some of these are probably out 30 and maybe 40 yards out on some of these further trails they're walking. But hopefully on the days that I'm out there, they're going to walk in that 20-yard circle for me and present a shot. There's a doe family group. One got spooked there. And on this camera, I only got this buck a second time. He was in one of the first ones of the night videos. Looks like he's got a brow tine, so he qualifies to be a shooter. It'll probably be, if he presents himself an easy shot, I'll probably take a shot at him. But I didn't get another picture of that big 8-point in this area. But it was only 3 days the camera was out there. Turkeys are out there as well, so hopefully maybe I'll get presented a shot at that. They can bust you real easy. I'm going to get out there Saturday evening hunt and a Sunday morning hunt, so we'll see how that turns out. Good luck to you all.